Yo, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy Roy, accompanied by the one, the only, the Dominican Badman, Serge. And we're Combat Sport Guys coming back to you with another UFC 309 full card prediction, bets, picks, breakdown, analysis, and opinions. But before we do, we're going to go over last week. We didn't have the chance to do our post fight reaction show, so we'll do it very briefly. If you're tuning into us for the first time, make sure you hit a like, make sure you hit a subscribe, and drop us a comment. Support us. Follow us on X. The description is below in the comments. Floor prize guy, how you doing?
I'm good, brother. Always a pleasure doing this with you. Listen, brother, we got pinned to the top of the screen. How we did last week. The boys were hating. The boys were talking S about our boy Prates. But guess what? First round knockout.
First round knockout looks good. You know, coming out of the Fighting Nerds training camp, those guys are unbeatable right now, man. So I'm excited to see what the future holds for Prates. Our picks, we did well, 82%, 73% for yourself. And the parlays and bets that we put out on Twitter also hit. We don't have that image there, but if you'd like to follow us on Twitter to check that out, make sure you check that out on Twitter. We do drop those every Thursday or Friday, depending on how we're doing with scheduling, but make sure you check that out. Getting into this card here, we have Veronica Hardy up against Eduarda Moura, women's flyweight bout. Moura is 10-1 and is 4-5 in their last 5 fights, last losing to Diniz Gomez via split decision. Hardy is 9-4-1 and is 4-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating JJ Aldrich via unanimous decision. I think the pick for myself is going to be Hardy. I like her taekwondo. I like her movement, her striking technique. I think she's well rounded. She can mix it up on the feet and on the ground. She's fast and has good movement. Now, Moura does pose a threat. She's a submission threat. She had a lot of momentum prior to her last loss. She does, shoot for takedowns, and she does have a good pace. She can take Hardy down, but is she going to be able to keep her down? This fight can go either way, but I'm going to go with Hardy to pull it out. I like what she's been doing lately.
Champ, I gotta tell you, I agree with you, Champ. I don't know, are you reading my mind, Champ? Because
I think so. I
listen,
think so.
Veronica Hardy is the pick. I want to congratulate Ms. Moura. Ms. Moura is coming down. Sorry, coming up. She was fighting in the strawweight division. She was a big girl in that division. But there's something in the water, Champ, that Veronica Hardy has just been doing so well. You got the powerlifting. You have the conditioning. I looked at her last loss, and it was close to 5 years ago against Bia Malik, and it was a very intriguing fight.
Yeah.
The range was just out of this world. And I think Veronica struggles with rangy fighters, but what I'm trying to get at, Champ, Moura doesn't really possess those skills. I mean, look, Moura's going to be 2 inches higher, 2 centimeters. Sorry, 2 centimeters. Yeah, 2 inches. 2 inches higher. The reach event is going to be 2 more, but that is nothing, Champ. So I expect this to be a good fight. I expect Hardy to, pick her up. And yeah, I mean, look, if I'm Moura, I'm going to try to grapple, and Veronica's just going to jab away, and clinch. And Hardy has the power and the strength to move her. So I'm excited to see this outcome, and I would personally be betting on Veronica Hardy. So I'm excited about that.
There it is. Next up, we have a men's welterweight bout. We have Oban Elliot up against Basil Hafez. Oban is 11-2-0 and is 5-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Preston Parsons via unanimous decision. Hafez is 9-4-1 and is 3-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Gall via unanimous decision. For me, I think I'm gonna go with Oban Elliot here. He is the slight favorite at a -155. I think he's the overall better fighter. He has great cardio, and he will outlast and control Hafez on the ground. What do you think?
I like the split decision against Jack Della Maddalena. I think it tells us a story about Basil, but similar. I was watching Elliot fight, and I just liked Elliot more. There's something about Elliot that that I think he wins. He wins in 2 days, champ. So yeah, I got to go with Elliot. I'm gonna go. The pick is low. Um, yeah, go with Elliot.
Yeah, I think with the thing with Edley with Oban is he has the height advantage. He has the 2 inch height advantage. He has the not necessarily the reach, but he does have the height advantage, and that's going to be an asset for him because he can control the fight at his range and keep the distance and push the fight. Mix it up with the striking and the grappling, and he has really good takedown defense. He's at a 72% for his takedown defense, so it's going to be hard for Hafez to take him down if he's looking to take him down. But we'll see. The pick is going to be Elliot. It's going to be low for myself. We'll move on here to our next fight. We have Mcghee Gall up against Ramiz Brahimaj. Welterweight bout. Gall is 7-6 and is 7-6 and is 1-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Hafez via unanimous decision. Brahimaj is 10-5 and is 2-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Themba Gorimbo via unanimous decision. This I had a hard time trying to pick someone for this fight, but I'm gonna go with Gall. I think he does have solid grappling. He's been inconsistent. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. I just think he has the submission threat. He has the grappling threat. He has resiliency. He's never lost via submission. He's good on the ground. Yeah, I think he's gonna win. I'm going with Gall.
Okay.
Low.
I'm gonna side with Ramiz.
Okay.
And it's just based off the inconsistent. That track record, champ, that 7-6 is no bueno. And I mean, I will give him the edge because I think Mickey Gall is time to leave the UFC after this fight. I also think that, Mickey Gall did lose to Morono. Morono is a teammate of Remy's. They're both from Fortis MMA. So I think he's going to come very prepared for that fight. Now, it is low. I'm picking him, but I'm not betting on that channel. I'm not touching that. We'll put the stick away. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. All right. So we're on opposing ends for this fight. Next up, we have a men's heavyweight bout. We have Marcin Tybura up against the undefeated Jonata Diniz. Tybura is 25-9-0, is 3-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Sergey Spivak via submission. Diniz, on the other end, is 8-0 and is 5-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Carl Williams via unanimous decision. Earlier this week when I was going over this card and making notes, I was leaning towards the Tybura side because, he has good Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He can grapple. He can fight on the ground and defend submissions. He's fought better competition in comparison to Diniz, who's up and coming in the UFC. But I think Diniz has had the longer training camp. He was training to fight Derek Lewis, whereas Tybura, he could have the mindset to stay ready all year round, but he didn't have a full camp for this fight. He took this fight late notice. I think Diniz has the momentum on his end. He has good technique. He's a solid kickboxer. He just, he does struggle on the ground. Williams kind of exposed that in the fight when he took him down in the 3rd round and he didn't do anything. But I think he's smart enough to know the type of fight up that the matchup that he has with Tybura in front of him. So I think he's gonna, maintain the distance, piece him up a bit. He has power behind his hands, and he's gonna look for the knockout. I'm gonna go with Diniz to win this fight.
And I would too, champ. However, I think this is going to be Deniz's first loss. I think Tybura has looked amazing, even in his last fight, like against Speedback. He did get the armbar, but I don't think Diniz is going to be threatening him from the ground. I think it's going to be kind of a combination of different things in this fight. So I'm going to give it to Tybura. My confidence level is medium on this one.
Wow.
The fact
even the fact that he's not really good at taking people down. He's good on the ground, but he doesn't really take people down.
But he gets it done. This is Deniz's first challenge. I just didn't like what I saw from Carl Williams. Carl Williams was able to I don't think Carl Williams is legit heavyweight. I think if Carl Williams gets on a diet, he could go to light heavyweight. And Diniz struggled with Carl Williams at the end, and he's about to face his first heavy guy. I mean, look, he knocked out Lane,
Yeah,
but Lane has a sus chin. I think Tybura is battle proven. I mean, look, who like Tom Aspinall knocked him out or to the ground and pound, but that's Tom Aspinall. Let's be honest.
yeah.
So yeah, I got to go with the medium. I got to go with Tybura. The fact that
Okay.
I did put him in my parlay. I have a four leg parlay, and he's one of them.
Yeah. Okay. Good. We'll see. We'll see. We're on opposing ends on that one as well. Next up, we have a men's lightweight bout. We have the veteran in Jim Miller at 41 years old up against Damon Jackson. Miller is 37 and 18 and 0 and is 3-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Bobby Green via unanimous decision at UFC 300, I believe. Jackson is 23-7-1 and is 2-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Chepe Mariscal via unanimous decision. You know, Miller is a dog. He's a veteran. He's been tried and true. He's fought for a long time. He's well-rounded. He has good grappling skills. And he also, fun fact, he holds the UFC record for most appearances and wins in the lightweight division. However, I'm going to give this fight to Damon Jackson. I think Damon Jackson is moving up from featherweight to lightweight for the first time. He's making his debut for this fight. He's known for his striking. He has the ability to finish fights, and he also has solid grappling. He's going to be able to mix it up. And I think with the added poundage, he's going to have more power behind his punches, and I think he's going to look a lot healthier. So I'm going to go with Damon Jackson to get it done.
That's bold as champ.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Jim Miller, champ. I'm gonna say that my dog over here, he gets the New Jersey, New York City boost. He's gonna be motivated. He's gonna be fighting. Close to his town. His family's gonna be there.
The sensu bean. He's gonna get the sensu bean.
Yeah, gonna come in lean. And I mean, look, I think this fight comes to age. Is my guy going to look his age? I don't think so, but it could happen. Yeah. And I mean, I think, when it comes to the wrestling, grappling, Jim Miller takes the cake here. And even the striking, I think, Jim Miller has good Muay Thai. Let's see how he deals with the range. But I want to congratulate my guy, Damon Jackson. He's going through a great opponent fighting Miller. And this is going to be his first time in this division. So let's see how it goes. But I got to go. The pick is low. I have to go with Miller.
Okay. That's good. Next up, we have a men's middleweight bout. We have Chris Weidman up against Eric Anders. Weidman is 16-7-0 and is 2-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Bruno Silva via unanimous decision. Anders is 16-6-0 and is 2-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Jamie Pickett via unanimous decision. Known for his power and athleticism, Anders. He has a background in football. Man,
he's a bad man. He's a bad man.
You got the former champ, with the wrestling, the BJJ, and striking. I wonder why he's the underdog. Is it the age? What do you think? Why do you think he's the underdog, Weidman? You think it's the age?
His footing. I mean, look.
You think it's the injury? The injuries he's had? You think it's the age? You think it's the footing, or you think he's just up against a tougher opponent?
So I actually had to sit down and ponder the question why, right? Because the thing is, Weidman's last win was actually a very controversy win against Silva. And right now, by the way, champ, they have Chris Weidman even. So there is money coming on Weidman right now. I'll tell you something. I have to go with your boy, Anders. He's on my parlay. I just didn't like Anders' movement. I think from a perspective of power, Anders is going to have it.
Wrestling, he has the edge.
I think Anders is going to come a little bit bigger. Weidman, I don't know. You don't know what Weidman you're going to get. Like, you have to, in a way, discard a little bit of the Silva fight just based off what happened was he wasn't emotionally ready. He wasn't, and he said that to the camera. He's like, guys, listen, I don't want to fight anymore. I'm I'm happy that it's done. So I think in
You're
his
talking
last
about
couple,
Silva or Weidman?
yeah, Silva, in his
Oh,
last couple
Silva.
of performance, he had that
Okay.
issue. And against Weidman, I think, Weidman did expose that. So I got to
Yeah.
go with Anders. We could be wrong. We don't know what Chris Weidman we're going to get. But 42 years old, I think, right?
40.
Oof, 40, right? 40, yeah. I'm going to go with Anders. Anders is 37. I just don't like Anders' movement. His movement is fun fact, champ. I won back in the day a little bet, a Machida versus Anders. Anders was undefeated. Machida was the underdog. Machida did win. My only issue is his movement. His movement has always been an issue. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. I'm also going to go with Anders as well. It's going to be a low for myself.
Yeah.
We'll move on to a men's bantamweight bout. We have Jonathan Martinez up against Marcus Mcghee. Martinez is 19-5-0 and is 4-5 in their last 5 bouts. Last losing to Josie Aldo via unanimous decision. Bad man. Mcghee on the other end is 9-1 and is 5-5 in their last 5 bouts. Last beating Gaston Bolanos via KO TKO. We saw him last week, win his fight. So that's a good win to have. It aged well. When you look at Mcghee, he's an aggressive striking who looks to finish fights early. His nickname is the Maniac, which kind of reflects his fighting approach, right? Like he just fucking comes out like a bat out of hell. I'm gonna go with Marcus Mcghee to win this fight. I like Marcus Mcghee to win this fight. I know Martinez, he has precise striking and his grappling is getting better. Uh, he has a good record. I mean, he lost to Jose Aldo. He had momentum going into that fight, right? He beat Adrian Yanez. He beat Saeed Nurmagomedov. He beat Cub Swanson. He had some good wins, but I think the momentum right now currently is on the side of my man over here, Marcus Mcghee. So I'm gonna go with Marcus Mcghee. I like his striking a bit more and his flair.
And it's good we're doing this, right? Opposite ends. I'm gonna go with Martinez. I like Martinez, the demeanor. I liked his approach. I think when he fought 6 months ago, Jose Aldo, he was a little bit gun shy. He was in Brazil. He was. Some fighters get starstruck
Yeah,
when they fight against an idol. Let's be very honest with it. Jose Aldo was the guy in 2015, 2016. So yeah, I think it was, he learned from that lesson, and he in this fight we get to see him address all these concerns. And I think I put money on Martinez as well. I think Martinez takes this. We'll see if I'm right. I mean, look, I'm banking on the fact that I just loved how he took apart Yanez. To me, Yanez is an up and coming guy. He needs to get it together, though. He's been knocked out a couple times already. And to me, I look at it. What's the more difficult fight, Yanez or Mcghee? And I would say Yanez. So I mean, look, if he comes in and mixes it up, it's going to be a long night for Mcghee.
Yeah, and one of the things I mentioned and I spoke to you about in DMs yesterday was Martinez did leave Factory X. He's training himself now. So what happens to a fighter when he leaves a camp that has other killers, right? That has other UFC caliber 10 to spar with, to train with. He's kind of doing it on his own. I think he's solo now, and I think he's creating his own gym, right? So I don't know how much of effect that's gonna have. I mean, we saw, Royval when he switched camps, he looked better when he fought against Tyra. He looked good. He was able to maintain the technique and everything behind his approach. But I don't know how Martinez is gonna look. That's one of my concerns, right? He left. Who's he sparring with? Who's he training with? What's going on his end? But yeah, Mcghee is the pick for me. We'll see what happens.
You'll see.
All right. I think we're going into the main card now. That was our featured prelim. Our main card, we have Conor McGregor. Oh, wait, that's not Conor McGregor. That's Mauricio Ruffy up against James Top. Ruffy is 10-1 and is 5-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Jamie Malarkey via KO. Top is 14-3 and is 3-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to, I apologize, Vyacheslav Borshev via split decision. Man, I think the obvious pick here for me is going to be Mauricio Ruffy. I love the way he fights. He's very fluid in his movement and his strikes. You hear it often from people, from the UFC to other, MMA podcasters that he does have some similarities to Conor McGregor, and a lot of it's in his stance and his movements and the way he kind of, you know, finds the range and sets up his punches. He's known for his striking. He's part of the highly regarded fighting nerds team. My boys over there. I need to get some glasses because I'm officially going over there, man. I know you don't like it. We got Kyle Barallo, you know,
I
Gene
like it.
Silva,
I like it.
Gene Silva, my guy Carlos Prates, and then Mauricio Rufi, and I think there's a female in there as well, Silva or Bruno. I forget her name. But yeah, I think he's the heavy favorite, and rightfully so. No disrespect to Yontop.
No.
He's good at striking and grappling. He has, demonstrated that he is resilient. He can push the pace. He can endure a tough fight. But I think Ruffy is gonna be a tough fight for him, and he's gonna pull out the victory. I don't know if he knocks him out, but I think Ruffy wins.
You called everything I was gonna say. Ruffy wins. This other guy, I mean, it's just the momentum. I mean, the momentum, the odds, the pressure, Madison Square Garden, the nerd that nerd camp. I mean, look, Prada's just destroyed Neil Magny in the first round.
And
Like,
it's all about making a statement too, right? And what better way to make a statement? You're on the main card on a highly touted UFC pay-per-view with John Jones headlining in New York in Madison Square Garden. You got to get it done, right? You got to be, what's the term you like? Undeniable. You got to become what?
undeniable.
Undeniable. There we go. So I think Rufi is headed towards that route, and we'll see what happens.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Next up, we have a women's flyweight bout. We have Karine Silva up against Vivian Aruajo. Silva is 18-4-0 and is 5-5 in their last five bouts, last beating Ariane Lipski via unanimous decision. Aruajo, on the other end, is 12-6-0 and is 2-5 in their last five bouts, last losing to Natalia Silva via unanimous decision. The pick for me is going to be Karine Silva, simply because, let's see, she sets up her takedowns with her strike. She has good striking. She has good submission abilities, and she has all the momentum on her end, man. She's on a 5-fight win streak. She's going up against Vivian Aruajo, who has been inconsistent. She's lost 2, won 1, lost 1. I think Silva has all the momentum on her end. I'm gonna go with Silva.
I gotta side with you, champ. The only issue that I find that might present itself in this fight is experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like if you look at the records, like Alexa Grasso 2 years ago, Arujo, she fought Ribas. She beat Jennifer Maia. Jennifer Maia is a tough opponent. Beat what do you call it? Lost to Silva. Silva's up and coming. Silva will contend for the belt.
She's bad.
Bad girl. And I mean, it makes me want to pick Arujo, but then I look at the age. I'm looking at a lot of different factors here, especially in that women's division, man. Like, it's just the momentum has to go with Silva. Just based off, it is a low. I mean, we'll see. I just think Silva's a little bit more motivated, a little bit more prepared. And that momentum, that killer momentum is everything sometimes. So I got to go with Silva.
Yeah, and then there is a route to victory for Araujo. If she can keep the fight at a distance, utilize her striking accuracy, keep her at range, and avoid the takedowns. Have a solid takedown defense. Kind of limit Silva and remove her, some of her powers away, right? Like her prominent strengths away. There is a possibility, but I think Silva is just, she has all the momentum on her side. I think she's gonna pull out the victory here. I'm gonna go with the medium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Medium as well, I guess, because it's crazy.
Next up, we have a men's middleweight bout. Did you know that me and Bo Nickel went to the same college, bro? We got Bo Nickal up against Paul Craig, Penn State alumni. We got Nickal, who is 6-0 and is 5-5 in their last 5 bouts, last beating Cody Brundage via submission. Craig is 17-8-1 and is 1-5 in their last 5 bouts, last losing to Kyle Barallo via KO. The pick here for me is going to be Nickal. He's a collegiate level wrestler from Penn State. He's a former 3-time NCAA Division I national champion wrestler. He brings an elite wrestling pedigree to the UFC. He's undefeated at 6-0. All of his fights have resulted in finishes. He has 3 submission finishes and 3 TKO finishes. He's, has showcased his ability to end fights quickly. One thing I would like to see from him, and I hope he kind of showcases that in this fight, is his striking. Is his striking going to develop? That's one of the things that people have criticized him in the past, that he's boring, right? That, a wrestler, I like the idea that a wrestler utilizes their wrestling. They take him down on the ground and they control them. People don't find that to be entertaining, but I want to see him improve on his striking. He is going to be the pick for me. No disrespect to Craig. Craig has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He has 13 of his 17 wins by submission. He's dangerous. He's dangerous on the ground. He's tough. He's tough as well. He can take a beating and he could turn around and win via submission at any moment in the fight, right? Most of his fights and W's have come when he's on the bottom, when he's in a disadvantageous position. So, but the pick still is Bo Nickal.
I think similar to me. The issue with Paul Craig is a conditioning. Paul Craig has a conditioning issue. Let's not Brendan Allen obliterated him, and it's just I like Brendan as no slouch, but it's just Paul Craig has always had an issue with his cardio, and after that first round, my guy gets tired. So he was one of the guys that tapped out Jamal Hill, but he's a first round fighter, and I think Bo is just too prepared. I think the way what they call a blue chip prospect, a guy that if you could say who's going to be champion in 2026, it might be Bo. We just got to check out that striking, right? So I'll give it to Bo Nickal. I think he dominates him. He pushes the pressure. As soon as Bo Nickal locks, he just has to control him. If he could stay away from, if he could control him on the ground, and he will, he has this. He could do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I think we could see 2 different fights. We could see one where it's strictly on the ground and it's domination from Bo Nickal, right? And he's scrambling, he secures the finish, he gets the W via the ground. Or there could be one where he tries to keep the fight on his feet, knowing the power and the strength in Craig's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So it could go either way. But I think Bo Nickal's going to win regardless.
And champ, he's on the 4-leg parlay. That's how confident I think.
Okay. And again, if you're tuning in, those parlays are on our Twitter account. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, on X, formerly known as Twitter. I apologize, Elon. Don't ban me. I think, I think Bo Nickal takes this. We'll move on. Next up, we have a men's lightweight bout. We have Charles Dubrox Olivera up against Iron Michael Chandler. Olivera is 34-10-0 and is 3-5 in their last 5 bouts. Last losing to Arman Sarukian via split decision at UFC 300. Chandler is 23-8-0 and is 2-5 in their last 5 bouts. Last losing to Dustin Poirier via submission. Everything is telling me that Olivera should win this fight. They're running it back. If you watch the first fight, he beat him. He knocked him out in the second round. Michael Chandler does have the issue where he gasses out. He likes to start off fast. He likes to start off aggressive, but he kind of withers away as the fight progresses. Olivera is the overall better fighter. He has the grappling. He has the submission threat. His striking's okay. He's resilient. He does get cracked in a lot of his fights, but he somehow comes back, right? He comes back and he either wins or he endures the punishment. But then I look at it from the Chandler side, and Chandler has been out of competition for 2 years waiting for McGregor. I think the joke on X is that he's had a 2-year fight camp, brother. He's had a 2-year fight camp. He looks in phenomenal shape. And I rewatched their first fight, and one thing that stuck out to me was I think Chandler prepared for the grappling because when the fight got to the ground, he was able to bring it back up to the feet. He was able to get out of threatening positions. And I think he underestimated the striking of Chandler. When he went in the second round, I think he shot a straight right and it failed, right? It fell short. And then Chandler was able, Olivera was able to hit him with that left hook, which cracked him, right? And he kind of, you know, went out with the punches there. He was unable to defend himself. I don't know, man. Everything's telling me Olivera should win, but I kind of want to go with Chandler here. I think he has the killer instinct in him. I think he's gonna respect Olivera's striking this fight, and he's gonna prepare on the ground. I mean, he's a wrestler. He has good grappling. I think Chandler as a dog, I like him here. I think he's gonna come in super motivated. We'll see. What do you think?
I mean, I'm gonna go with Chandler in this one. The only issue Chandler has had in the past is cardio. And I think for this fight card, like he looks leaner than ever. I think he understood that. He understood that he needed to work on his conditioning. And that's why he's done a lot of cycling. He's done a lot of sparring in the rounds. He training partners of Kamaru Usman, so they're taking each other to the brink of exhaustion. First fight, if you analyze it, man, like I think even Chandler like has just faced too many demons. Like I think when you look at the odds, the odds are saying, hey, well, Olivera beat Gaethje and Olivera beat Poirier, but let's not make a mistake. Those guys were in the first round. It's just Charles Olivera is that intense, and he finds a way to win. I think this round, my guy's going to be so conditioned, so athletically peaked. He's going to have good technique. I think he takes him out this round. He's just going to grind him. I think he's going to be an amazing turnout event. And if not, I want to congratulate Michael Chandler for dropping to featherweight, because if he loses this fight, champ, he needs to go down to featherweight. Okay, crazy.
Yeah. And going back to the first fight, I don't think a lot of people say that he cracked Olivera and he knocked him down. I think Olivera was attempting to go for the takedown, and as he was going down, he hit him, right? And then he was kind of moving his head, looking for the leg. If you kind of rewatch that sequence, he was looking for the leg, trying to secure the takedown. So I don't think he was really that hurt in that fight. I just think that Chandler didn't really respect his striking. I think he was in there with the game plan to finish him maybe early and to kind of prepare for the grappling. But I think Chandler right now should have all the motivation to go out there and make a statement. And as you like to say, be undeniable for the money fight, right? Because if he loses that fight, you could say goodbye to Conor McGregor. And I don't think Conor McGregor is ever going to fight. So I don't know what he's shooting for.
We're done with that, brother. We're not waiting for that anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Michael Chandler is going to be the pick for me. It's going to be very low because Olivera should win the fight. He's overall better, but something tells me that Chandler could come out there hot and make a statement, man. I think he's been 2 years out of competition, right? And as you mentioned, he's been cycling, he's been sparring. Maybe his cardio got better. Maybe he won't gas out. Maybe he'll pace himself, right? Maybe he'll change up his style for this fight. Who knows? But Chandler is the pick. We'll move on to our main event. Who's the GOAT in your opinion? Is it Stipe Miocic? Is he the GOAT? Or is it John Jones? There's an argument, man. There's an argument for heavyweight. Is Stipe Miocic the heavyweight GOAT? That's a good question.
And of the UFC, yes, you got to. But if it was another organization, you got to get it. You got to give it to Fedor Emelianenko. That is the man. But listen, champ, let me start with this one. This is a great fight. The minus 650 John Jones. he is on the parlay. I think Stipe's a good fighter. He's not a bad fighter. It's just the range, the I don't know, John's physique as well. It's just like, what does that tell us? Like, is he gonna come in? The spinning shit, as Nate Diaz likes to talk, are gonna be on full display. We got to see a little bit of a um, of like grappling fun with Gable. Um, Gable's no joke wrestler, brother. The explosiveness that I saw, and you could also see that Gordon Ryan is going to be in John Jones' camp, so he's been working on his grappling. He's like this. I think this is going to be insane. The leverage, the everything. Um, yeah, I don't want to discount Stipe Miocic, but my guy Joan is going to come in. He's going to put. I think he's going to be the hammer.
So listen, Jones, for the people watching who aren't familiar with him, he's 27-1 and is 5-5. He's essentially undefeated. He's 5-5 in his last five bouts. Last beating Cyril Gahn via submission, but that was 2 years ago. You look at Miocic, he's 24-0 and is 3-5 in their last five bouts. Last losing to Francis Ngannou via KO. That was almost 4 years ago. So this fight is happening. We lost you there, brother. You good? Oh, okay. You good? Yeah. I don't even know where I was at. This fight, I think, is a few years too late. Miocic does have the boxing prowess. He hits you with those combinations, those two punch combinations. He has a record of 15 knockouts in his career. He has power behind his hands. His cardio is really good. He's a firefighter, for Christ's sakes. You know how good the fucking firefighters' cardio is? They got to run through buildings and shit that are burning when the air is super fucking toxic, man. With all the equipment, my man's cardio is out of this world. His conditioning is crazy. He can maintain a high pace. But John Jones knows that, right? He kind of mentioned that. I know he likes to use that right hand. I know he likes to get in close. We have a plan for that, he mentioned, right? And I like that we're doing this breakdown later in the week because we're able to hear the press conferences, kind of listen to the interviews. Jones, he's well-rounded, man. He has good BJJ. He throws vicious elbows, fucking amazing kicks. He can fight on the ground. He can secure submissions. He can strike you, piece you up. He's tall. He's lengthy. He has the perfect MMA build, in my opinion. Jones is the pick, but I don't know how they're going to look, man. Do you think there's going to be some ring rust from both of them?
Oof. I mean, listen, champ. Um, per Dominic Cruz, ring rust does not exist. And the reality is, like, the preparation these two individuals have had, they're champions. So they're both champions. They're both veterans. And I mean, they both have they had training camps as well, less than a year ago, right? I was supposed to see them in Madison Square Garden. I don't think ring rust is an issue. John has admitted that he wants to put a statement on Miocic. He did the Michael Jordan quote and he took it personal when he called him a bitch. I did like that about John because John is petty, right? Shout out to DC. No, I don't think they have ring rust. I think it's going to be an excellent fight. I think Miocic does need to start early because if he allows John to pick it up, I think it's going to be done.
Yeah, and it feels like the universe is doing everything to favor John Jones, right? The old gloves are gone, the new gloves are in. I mean, the new gloves are gone and the old gloves are in. I said that backwards. The old gloves are in. You got the 12-6 elbows. You could strike, you can knee an opponent with their hands on the ground. I think it's gonna be crazy. Like this fight was tailor made for John Jones, right? With all these rules, the stipulations, the old gloves. It's there for a reason. It's there for a reason. And it kind of sucks that this week it's kind of been John Jones and Aspinall conversation. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of coverage from Stipe. I mean, not to say that there isn't any coverage, but I just feel like maybe my algorithm is catered to more Aspinall related stuff with John Jones, but you can't discredit Stipe. He's a bad man, right? He beat Francis Ngannou. He exposed that man. He exposed that man. He made him gun shy,
Yeah,
but he paid for it in the second fight. So it is what it is.
yeah,
But
and he leaned in. Stipe did like Francis was winning that round, but Stipe made a very crucial mistake. He kind of went in for the kill, and he paid for it. Let's be honest. Like, you can't.
And
Francis
Ngannou
is,
was big in that fight. Stipe wasn't. Stipe was like he looked smaller than Ngannou. Ngannou came in heavy for that second fight.
so he was going vegan for that fight, champ. Stipe was, I
Yeah.
think he was thinking vegan. But the one thing with the whole Tom Aspinall thing, because the boys will say I'm Dick Riding Jones. Champ,
We could talk about it. No, let's talk about it. We have some time. We're at 40 minutes.
Yeah. Listen, champ, I'm gonna be 100, champ. When Tom Aspinall defends the belt 8 times and then defends it another 3 times and then defends it again, let me know, because like that and this is the issue. Like, the fans are not are they're mad because they want him to face it. But champ, the whole reason why Aspinall is champion, it's because John got injured and they needed an event. They needed a fighter, like a main event, like a co-main event, a fight. So it would justify the pay-per-view. So in my honest opinion, the UFC messed up. They created this bout. He is the interim
That's the
champion.
issue. I don't get why. That's the issue. I don't get why when people get injured or people, they miss a fight, they throw in these interim championships, right? Like these interim titles. Like, look at Bilal Muhammad. He's gone for how long? It's not going to be that long. He'll be back next year, but they're going to have an interim welterweight bout.
But you know why? Because they're trying to add value to the pay-per-view, because
I
they
get
want to
it. I
make
get it. But
pay-per-views.
the whole conversation with Aspinall comes down to him having the interim title, right? And I understand
Yeah.
both sides. I could see why people think John Jones is quote unquote ducking Aspinall. But I also find the truth in what John is saying. Like, why would he gamble? Like, you listen to the words that he said. Why would I gamble my legacy for somebody who's unproven? And interpret that however you want. But why would he go up against somebody who's younger, who's big, who's fast, who's finished fights? There's not a lot of tape on Aspinall for him to study and exploit, right? So why would he put that gamble out there for somebody that he, in his mind, doesn't feel is proven, right? And that's why he says, I want the Alex Pereira fight because it does more for his legacy. But yeah, I see both sides. I just think that since the interim championship is attached to Aspinall, he has to fight that man, bro. Unless he vacates the title, that's what he said he's going to do. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see Aspinall versus Jones unless he's doing it for the reasons that you thought in the beginning, for money.
But it's again, champ. Who's Thomas, the interim champ? And like, I just can't even phantom this, champ. Like people now are saying that GSP is the greatest of all time, right? Champ, it's when GSP lost to Johnny Hendricks, that was a very close decision. Fans weren't happy. Fans wanted a rematch. What did GSP do? GSP retired. Then came back, won the middleweight belt. Do you think fans remembered about GSP quote unquote ducking Hendricks? No. This is an issue stipulated by the UFC. They created an interim belt to save an event, and now John has to pay for it. Here's the thing. Tom, after this, this will haunt John Jones if Tom goes and defends 5, 6, 7 times and becomes what you would consider the GOAT.
I don't
Let's
think
face it.
he has
But
to
if he
do
doesn't,
that.
champ,
I don't think he has to do that. I think, and you said it earlier, he's petty. John Jones,
3 times, defend the
but
belt
I
3
think
times.
no, I don't agree. I think, and you said it earlier, John Jones is petty. I think Aspinall needs to talk shit. He's too nice. If he would have came out with in that post-fight interview, what? What'd you say?
He is now. This last week, Tom has been on Jones, and
He's been on
John
Jones. He has to
said
pick it up a little. Be nasty. Get him. If Stipe riled him up by calling him a bitch, get a little nasty with it, man. Bring up his past. Bring up some of the demons he has. Talk that shit. Get him mad. Make him respond to you. Make him respond to you. He's too nice, and I think John is kind of having fun with it. He's calling him an asshole. What's up? What'd you say?
No, and also like the focus is on Miocic. The focus is on Stipe. Why would John start flirting with Tom if he's fighting Stipe? This is how crazy it is. Because listen, if you divert your attention to Tom and you start poking John and making fun of the injury of everything, what if Stipe comes in and knocks him out? It just makes no sense for John Jones. And the thing is, Tom doesn't draw. And let me tell you something. I don't know what it is, but as soon as Tom became interim champion, Tom got all these deals. Like he hosts. He's become the man for UFC TNT, which is an England kind of like deal organization, like kind of like a network that they just push John, and they push Tom, and I see Tom every weekend breaking down fights. And it was so fantastic that I'm bringing this up because that media tried to interview John. And you know what John said? Brother, I already know what you're going to ask me, and I'm not interested because the bias is so much on Tom. Like, what are we doing? What do you want to ask me about Tom? Bro, Tom doesn't draw. Tom was the co-main event of an England card at a 4 a.m. slot, champ. You think John is interested in that man, or he's interested in Pereira? 3 years, and he's been defending. Like, bro, that man sells everything out now. That's the money fight, champ. For legacy, I guess Tom, but for Pereira, let's be honest.
I think for legacy is Pereira, not Tom.
The fans want the interim belt. Like, it's just they're saying, oh well, Tom, he has to unify now. It's crazy because if the UFC didn't have created, the only reason why they created that was because to save the pay-per-view in a way, to give it more value, and I think that's the issue. So Pereira is a more exciting fight, man. Let's be honest. Like I don't give a shit about seeing Tom fight John. Like I said, you know what I would give a shit about? Tom after this fights the winner of Volkov and Gall. Then goes. Let's say for example, Stipe wants to stay a little bit more. Fights Stipe. Then fights. Let's say for example, the winner of who else is next in the heavyweight division after Gall and Volkov? Nobody, right?
Yeah. There it is.
It's not a good sign. It's not a good sign for the heavyweights.
There it is. All right, guys. There's our picks on the screen here. Make sure you follow us on X. We'll be going live on Saturday with our fight round by round analysis. Floor price guy, any parting words?
Brothers, sisters, they, them. And, instead of spending time hating on John Jones, enjoy his last fight because I don't think we see him again. I think this is the last supper. That's it. You might see him again if he fights Pereira. Pereira's going to have to fight Magomedov first. And if Pereira loses to Magomedov, we don't see this fight. I just don't see it happening. So unless you front run that fight first. But if he fights again, champ, he won't fight for the belt. I think he fights at the BMF weight. And he's deserved it. You want to talk about deserve? Like, come on, bro. 12 title defenses. 3, it's just insane career. So I think more than anything, appreciate his last fight because this might be the last one. Your thoughts, champ?
Beautifully said. All right, guys. Peace out.